Alright, we're going to do another video on this Pathfinder. So I am working on the rear hatch. I'm going to try to get body filler in this and get this ready basically for paint. I'm not going to paint it just yet. I might paint the door jamb area on the back side, but this side will not get painted until I get all of this smoothed out and lined up with this. But I'm going to try to knock out some of these big areas. And I started sanding this down. It's either 36 or 40 grit paper that I'm using on my DA, and I got to this. So I'm hitting around this and I see that dent. That is how you know there's a dent there. All of this was smoothing out real nice. I know there's not a dent there, and I do not feel a dent. I felt all in here, and I did not even feel that because I was mainly feeling where I knew there was dents, seeing how bad that it was. But now that I do know it's there, I can feel that. And there is a cutout on the back side of this. Right there. So I can get to that dent right there. I'm going to try to push this out a little bit. I'll take a screwdriver. Sometimes that's going to give you a pinpoint accuracy. This will give you more of a push. I just use things like this that I've got laying around. I've got some hammers and dollies and things as well, and some other bars and stuff. But generally I just use stuff like this. So I'm going to get on the back side and I'm going to see if I can just massage some of this dent out so that it's not so big. There's another one right there. You can already see how it's sanding around that. It's not sanding in it. The rest of this, other than the obvious, is pretty smooth. There's something going on right here. Feels like it's pushed out right here, right where that tree branch or whatever hit here. It pushed it out here. So I'm going to have to tap that down just a hair because it is up too high. And I don't feel anything else. That should sand out pretty nice. This won't take a whole lot of body filler to get all that straight. I'm not concerned with this. That's where the glass will go. I don't know how to take these off. Hopefully I can get this off without damaging it so that I can put that back on. And then I will work down through here. And I think for the most part this is going to be pretty obvious what I need to do. So the only hidden things will be just a couple spots. If you get that in the right light, you can see there's a dent. So I'm gonna kind of push some of this stuff out, and then I'll sand some more. Alright, I don't know about everybody else, but my first coat of body filler is always kind of nasty looking. It is mainly for me to really highlight my low areas and my high areas and give me a baseline to go with. And I'm gonna probably go ahead and put some more in here as I go. Generally, the lowest point will show that it's low, like it's not been sanded too much. The high point will be sanded down and feathered into the body of the vehicle. And so generally the spot, as you put layer and layer, it grows bigger and bigger so that it gets really smooth. This is going to require a big block to finish it out completely. I'm going to start, this is nowhere near ready, I just applied this. I'm going to start with the DA with 40 grit and work my way up to a big long block with 80 grit. And then I can put epoxy on top of the 80 grit. And at that point, this will be really close. And I can fit it to the vehicle, and I can get the vehicle off the jack stands. This frame that I've got under here is 1/4 inch thick, and it will not give at all. But if your frame does give, the body could twist, and with the twisting of the body, it could throw your body lines off. And just precautionary measures, I am going to get this on the wheels, and I will air it up to probably max lift, and then I will start forming body lines to match what I have on the hatch at that point. And then once I have the body lines put in here, I will carve the body line out of this taillight filler, and then I will try to find where it needs to be carved here, but not carve too much, maybe just even put a mark where the middle of the body line is. I will have to form this piece by hand, and it's going to have to curve. It's going to be a nightmare to form this piece that will go here. But we will see if I can make that and make it look as good as I can get it. I went ahead while I was doing some other things. I went ahead and started doing some hammer and dolly on this, trying to knock out some high points on that. And I've also been trying to get these roof racks off, and they will not come off. I'm probably going to have to drill that screw out, and if I put these back on, I will have to figure out what I'm going to do about that screw that I drilled out. And if I decide that I don't want to do that, then I'll just weld up these holes and run without a roof rack. I'm undecided. So this is going to take, what I'm using is the Orion Automotive Finishes premium body filler. This sounds really, really good, and it gives you a little bit extra work time, which means it's a little bit extra dry time. So I'm going to give this probably at least 20 minutes, maybe 30. And I may just end up having to call it a night on this. We'll see. I've already worked 12 hours as normal. So, alright, I'll cut you back on. I ended up, I'm going to have to use this rotary tool with this bit right here. And I'm going to have to cut out these screws that will not come out. I went ahead and did that side already. I may or may not be able to put these back. We'll see. I'm going to try to clean those holes up and re-drill them or something. That is a mess. Anyway, I sanded this down and it came out pretty good. I went ahead and put a skim coat on the entire thing, and I'm going to get my block out tomorrow and block that with a pretty long block. I'm probably going to hit it with some 40 grit starting out and go from there. I want this like flat, so with the entire thing I'm going to sand almost all of that back out, but that will get me flat, so that's what I'm doing. This up here, we'll see how flat it gets. This is my 30-inch block. This is the longest one that I have. I'm just going to go right off into that. This does have a slight bend in it, but this block will bend slightly, so it should get me where I need to be. I want this perfect. See if I can make it work. Alright, I applied another thing of body filler over there, and while I'm waiting on that to dry, I'm going to try to make some templates to cut out some sheet metal for these right here. That's what I've got. So I'm going to take some 16 or 14 gauge. I think I've got some 16 gauge over here. And cut that out, and then see if I can get it to bend right there. And it may not fit perfect. I'm going to oversize that just a hair so that if it doesn't fit perfect, I can always shape it. If I cut too much, then it's a lot of welding to try to fill in a hole. I wish I could take these windows right here out, they appear to be really glued in good, or something I'm overlooking. I don't know. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tape these off with several layers of tape so that I don't mess those up whenever I'm welding and grinding right here next to those. I don't want to put any weld splatters in my glass. I'm going to also see about maybe hammering this in just a little. I hate to, because that is flat and looks nice. And then I don't want to hammer that. That's very strong right in that bend. Bends like that makes metal very, very strong. And this side is not going to be much easier to bend, but I'm gonna see if I can bend this. I do have that much room, so maybe I can get that to clear by 1/8 of an inch or so. I'm just not going to be able to bend that, because that is going to be a nightmare. Right in that corner, that's not going to bend. I know that. The only way to do that would be to cut this and then push it in tighter and re-weld it. And at that point, I would have messed my door up, because this is ready for paint right now. I'm hoping that hitting this right here does not mess up my body filler and put any dents. You just have to hope for the best, because there's no way really to bend that in. I've got a run right here anyway, so it'll be alright. Just repaint this side right here. Alright, get going here. Here's my body filler I've sanded, and it turns out there was a high spot here when this was built from the place that I ordered this from. It wasn't perfect, so that put it low here, and it put it low here and high here. So whenever I'm getting down to bare metal, I know that the other sides are low, and right here is bare metal. So I know I'm low down here. I need to go ahead and apply some more body filler right over here. But we are definitely getting there. On this, it was smoothing out pretty good, but it's not as smooth as I want. So I'm going to go ahead and lay a layer through the whole thing, and that should smooth out real nice. If not this coat, then the next. And I'm going to epoxy this and then high fill prime this. And once high fill primer is on it, I can take my long block and put a softer, that's pretty soft right there, 240, 220. This might be 320. This is 320. 320 is going to be pretty soft. It's I might go with a 220, but anyway, it's a long way from there, so we'll get to that point when we get there. But it's definitely getting smoother, so I'll cut you back on in a little while. Alright, I went ahead and I stepped it down to a 16-inch block. I'm just not used to handling anything that big. Nah, really, though, the sticky back paper just kind of fell off, and it started trashing up this, so I went ahead and took it to the bathroom. I cleaned it up. My bathroom is in there. I cleaned it all up with some soap and water. I'm letting that dry, and this is a lot easier to work with, and I went ahead and used it right here. There is a couple little imperfections. I'm going to let the epoxy take care of those 2 or 3 small imperfections. That will feather out. It's really smooth. The top of this is definitely ready to go. The bottom is not. You can see my high spots and my low spots. Actually, that's a low spot. That's a high spot. All right, so then I'm gonna try to carve this body line out a little bit better. I will need a long block for that. I do have a lot of these blocks. So this little block is usually what I use for the body line. I'm going to go ahead and get it pretty close with this, and then I will step up with this one. It will make it really nice and flat on a long surface. And I've got some new paper on that, and I am working this way and this way and circular motion, and this is how you wear your body out right here. Like, not this body, but your physical body. I'm gonna keep sanding on this. It's like kind of like going to the gym and lifting weights. This is a workout. So I could not get any 40 grit paper. I'm gonna have to order that online. I went to the store this morning. They do not offer it in my local store. 80 is all they've got, and I had about a roll and a half. Well, 2 partials. I've got about a full roll of that, so I didn't buy any. And I'm using this small one just to get some of the little edges here and there. I'm getting some of those cleaned up. Where this keyhole was a little bit high, and I'm not really going to mess with it. I'm just going to fill it in to that, and the keyhole will hide whatever, so I'm not going to go to banging on that. This fell off again. What a freaking nightmare. I'm going to try to glue that probably, because that is not taking a weld. My previous video, I show how I'm putting these in, and it's just a cobbled up mess, and it's awful. So anyway, I'll work on that. There's lots to do. Hopefully I can get this done today. It started sprinkling earlier. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and maybe tonight have this ready to go. Maybe tomorrow I can get some epoxy on this and then get it hung back up in just a couple of hours. And I may have to hammer up or down to get the lines at the roof correct, and then I will build my body line after I get the hatch as close as I can get it. And I've also been massaging on these doors a little bit. It was tapping right here. That's gonna have to be repainted, whatever, don't really matter. But as of right now, it doesn't matter. I was trying to get these body lines a little bit closer. This door doesn't line up real good, but at least it shuts now. I had to beat that in a little bit. It shuts good, so I'm just gonna have to sand this back and respray that. I think that's the only spot this door was hitting, so we should be good on this door. It will actually close further than it needs to at this point. I guess you still have to not slam it, but close it a little aggressive. So it lines up a lot better now. And I do not want to do that to this side, but I'm gonna have to beat that in. I am not looking forward to that. And I will cut you back on in a little bit. I think this cardboard piece, what I can do, I took it to the other side. It's the exact same. It's just a mirror image. I don't know where I put it. Here it is. So what I'll do is I will just cut 2 of these out of metal, a little bit oversized. And one I will bend this way, and the other one I will bend the other way. And I'll have a left and a right. And then I can fine tune the sizing, and I can also cut this down to bare metal. And it would be good to use 40 grit paper on that. If you were very careful, you can use a flap disc, but you have to be very careful. All you want to remove is paint. You just want bare metal. You don't want to cut into that bare metal and make it thin. The thinner that metal, the harder it is to weld, the easier it is to crack. And all right, I'm gonna keep going. So this look right here is because it's low. I'm not able to sand that because I am hitting all of the high spots instead. And I had several of those around here, and I went ahead and applied a little bit of body filler to those. I'm gonna have to mix up some more and hit in here. And then I will let this dry a little bit. And then this will be ready to sand, and we are getting flat. We are getting there. So maybe it won't be too much longer. I've worked up a really good sweat, but I've actually not been doing this for very long. I did a little bit of it last night, and after going to town and everything today, and it's not even noon yet, so we're doing pretty good. I'll catch you back on in a little bit. Alright, while body filler's drying, I'm going to go ahead and try to get these where I want them. So, trying to fit around in there and make it sit flush here. That will be my first goal. Then I will mark across where the bend needs to be, and I will get that bent over, and then I will start trying to fit this edge. And I trimmed these with the metal shears, so they're kind of rough. But if I take the grinder and grind a little bit right here, and then grind a little bit, make that a little bit more round, that should fit in pretty good on this side. I went ahead and used these neodymium magnets, or whatever, however you want to pronounce those. And so now I'm going to draw my line. Probably what I'll do is I'll just put a mark, and then I'll hold a straight edge up and connect the marks. I'll take this over to my bench vise right there, and I will clamp that in place, and then I will just tap that down. It's about a 90-degree angle. I'll tap that over to about a 90-degree angle, and then I will come back over to this. This door is driving me nuts. I'm gonna have to find this. I gotta clean my shop and find that so this door won't keep closing on me. All right, I will get this thing done. Just keep pushing. It's driving me crazy. All this is gonna have to be repainted, but I knew the doors were hitting on something in the back. I just didn't know what, and I couldn't figure it out. And I knew there was a chance that I would have to repaint this anyway. It's not a big deal. I can mask this off and not redo these jambs. I can just mask it to there and around in here. I can even cut to there and then just sand that, re-blue this, and then re-clear up to here. The edge, the door edge, maybe hide some of that, but anyway, this seal right here will hide a lot. Anyway, not a big deal. It sucks, but it's part of it. So just couldn't figure out what was going on until paint, and it was obvious after paint. So whatever. Building vehicles from ground up, you will encounter all sorts of things. So I'm just going to mark right there where I need a bend, and I will mark right there where I need a bend. And all I have to do now is connect the dots. That is a pretty straight line. Well, those magnets are very nice and strong. it does curve just a hair. I'm gonna hold a straight edge up to that and see what happens. Okay, I got this little short ruler and my door is straight right there. Golly, these magnets. All right, stay up there. Okay, so my door is straight right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make that straight and we should be good. All right, just as easy as that. That thing sits pretty flush. It is a hair high right here. So what I'll do is I will just weld here and here and here and around and all the way around. That feels good. I'll weld all the way around that. And then whenever I get right here, I will just tap that down with a hammer. Feels good right here. It's mainly just from there to there. So I will just tap that down just a hair. And it's pretty flat. Shouldn't be too much of a high spot. Feels flat all the way down. This feels pretty smooth all the way down. Putting that in the vise and just hammering that over gives a really nice edge. Just working with the tools that I've got. I'm not a professional. I'm doing this out of my backyard. Before I weld this, I do need to cover my window. I do not want any weld splatters or grinding splatters on this glass. I'm gonna try to cover that up with something. And but first, this body filler should be ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and be sanding on this, and then I'll come back to that. This should be my last coat. I went ahead and covered the entire thing so that I can knock this down with a big long block and get this completely flat. This is all a high spot, and high fill primer should take care of everything else. We will possibly have a few spots, but I hope not. Hope this is it. Most of this will get cut back out though. This up here was really flat. I just want to make sure it's as perfect as I can get it. Went ahead and taped this up with cardboard. I'm gonna tack weld this in with the door shut. You can see the body line is pretty close. I think the door out of alignment is the most part that it's gapped wider up here than it is down here, and I don't really see a fix for that because it's been so modified. Everything's been widened back here. If you've seen some of my earlier videos, you've noticed I showed you that all of this has been out probably close to an inch on each side, which caused this to be warped. It had a dimple, and I did that so that I could tuck these wheels. So anyway, a lot of work to do that. Wish that I just got some wheels that tuck, but whatever. All right, I will start tack welding this in place and wait on that to dry. All right, it's trying to sprinkle. It's hopefully gonna hold off. I'm gonna go ahead and try to blow this off. I'll wipe it with wax and grease remover, and then I will try to get the epoxy primer on this. You can see a couple spots right there where it tried to spit some rain on there. Let's see if I can get this knocked out. The sun's coming out, so maybe it'll work. I'm going to use the Orion epoxy primer. There is a 30-minute induction time, which means you mix your hardener and your primer together, and you have to just let it sit. Just stir it for like a minute, and then you have to let this sit for 30 minutes before you can spray it. So, weight gain. I've already stirred that up good. So, we're gonna go over here and we're gonna look. I've already got all of this all welded in all the way around. What I'm gonna do is come over to this other side, and I've already got this all taped up. I've already got it all fitting really good all the way around here, and I am just going to start stitching this together. And it is 3:30 at 4 o'clock today. I will be spraying the epoxy unless it starts raining, and then I will have to reposition what I'm doing. I already have the epoxy mixed, so can't waste that. It's 300 a gallon, so I will be spraying that, but I'll probably end up having to cover my Pathfinder if I do have to spray it in here. So, alright, I'm gonna weld this for 30 minutes. Alright, the sun came out. We're doing really good. Got 3 coats. Really, it's probably 4. I mixed up a little bit too much. I went ahead and just continued to spray. That will have some sand scratches and some little pinholes here and there. And this is a hair shy right there. Body filler will take care of that. I'm just going to go ahead and leave that like that. What happened, it burned through and I was having to chase it, and I hit it a little bit too much with the grinder right there. And I got this side done. This side looks way better than the other side. I didn't have any burn through on this side. Alright, I'll go ahead and stop this video here, and I'm going to start applying some body filler. I'm going to sand all that down with 40 grit and start in with some body filler on this really soon. I'm going to knock around a little bit more. I'm going to weld that hole right there up. And probably add a little bit of body filler. Maybe I can get to some of this tomorrow, I hope. We'll see. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I guess I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all have a good day.